Hello, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster, and we're going to go through day number two of the Breeders' Cup races, special edition here at the Derby Bar and Grill. 9 stakes races, or 9 Breeders' Cup races. There's a pile of stakes on the program.
Yeah.
But the Breeders' Cup races do start
9 grade ones, yeah.
9 grade ones. They start at 12 noon, 12:05, if you want to nitpick.
Get technical, yeah.
But race number 4 will be the first Breeders' Cup race, and Drew, let's get right into it. We got the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies to kick things off. Field of 10 scheduled to go a mile and a 16th. I've landed on the one horse, Artemis Agroterra, a filly that's undefeated, but started her career brilliantly. She was well backed. She was like, it's almost like they'd seen the results already, the way they were betting her. And she went off. She won. You know, there was a lot of hype, and she did win. Won by 11 lengths.
It was a state-bred race, but she comes back in the Frisette,
Yeah, and then she comes back, and she got a good break in that race. She, like, Sweet Reason broke poorly, which benefited her. Sweet Reason was probably best that day. But Artemis Agroterra got the money, but still, this horse got the rail going a mile 16th. It's a 2-turn race. That was a 1-turn mile race, and I just liked the way she was sprinting down the lane. I didn't think she was going to let anyone by anyway. Even a Sweet Reason would have broken better. There was 2 months in between races. I just think she's coming into it perfect. I think this is her premium race. She's nicely drawn in gate 1. I don't see a pile of speed in here. I think Jose Lescano gets her into a perfect spot. It's going to be really dangerous. How about the 9-horse Sweet Reason, the filly that ran second to her last time? She's done some things wrong in her races. She continues to botch the start, but she got away with it in her first 2. She won. But last time it did cost her, and I'm a little worried it may cost her this time. But she is probably the best filly in the race. But I did leave her in the second spot because of her, she's still doing a few things wrong, as young fillies or young colts will do. And I put the 10-horse, She's a Tiger, in for third. Gary Stevens got caught up at a pretty fast pace last time. He put away the speed, went 1:10 and change, which was, I believe, 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds faster than the boys went that day for the opening 6 furlongs. She got the staggers, and she was tired, exhausted in the stretch. But she was still trying to fight on. But with better pace fractions, I think she could be dangerous as well. And the other horse I've looked at was a 7, Untappable, who was very green in her last run. I think she could make some noise if she puts it all together. But I do like the one, Artemis Agroterra, over the 9, and I went 1, 9, 10.
I got exactly the same horses for you. Michael Hushin trained Artemis Agroterra. The daughter of Roman Ruler, her numbers are very good for the distance. She's already ran a mile, as you mentioned, at Belmont. She looks like she's coming in the race very well. Sweet Reason, the other one that figures to be extremely tough in here, daughter of Street Sense. I flip-flop between She's a Tiger and Untappable.
Yeah, I can see that.
For my second, third spot, I went with the daughter of Tappet out of the Steve Asmussen barn. Rosie Napravnik could have rode Baffert's horse, Secret Compass, in here. She elected to go with Asmussen's horse, Untappable.
A lot of potential. Untapped. It's an untapped resource. This horse is like, she's nice.
Yeah.
She was green last time. She had thrown her head all over the place. But she's gifted, and once she bared down, got her nose down and started running, she ran those horses down.
And the Tappets are running very good everywhere. So yeah, the sky's the limit for her. I got 1, 9, and 7 in the fourth, the first Breeders' Cup race. On to the second, which would be the fifth race. It's the Fillies and Mares Turf, going 1.25 miles. And I've landed on the Great British bred mare, filly, I should say. She's only 4. Dank, with more taken into the irons. I like the fact that they brought her over here to get a race under her belt in America, in the Beverly D at Arlington Park, and she absolutely crushed that day, winning by 4.5. Got 107 by her. She's got a very good record, 6 out of 11. As I mentioned on yesterday's show, you don't see the Euros pile up the wins. You do in America, so 5 wins.
She's special, Philly.
Yeah, 5 wins out of 10 starts in the UK is very tough to do. I have Dank on top. The second spot, I went with local horse, Tiz Flirtatious. She knows Santa Anita well. She just won the Grade 1 Rodeo Drive over Marketing Mix. Won by a head that day, but she looks like a horse that she likes to win. 8 wins out of 12 starts. She knows the track well. La Peru knows her very well, and she's probably going to be a handful in here too. In the third spot, I went to a bit of a flyer. The Irish horse Laughing, who has won 4 in a row at Saratoga, Belmont. going a mile and eighth. The last one was a Belmont going a mile and a quarter today's distance, won by a half a length in a grade 1. I don't see any problem with that. I got 1, 3, and 7 in the 5th at Santa Anita.
Yeah, I agree with your topic, Drew. I think the one Dank is just the classiest filly. She's like one of those Goldakova type special fillies that I think are going to continue to do well. She's what a turn of foot she showed at Arlington. I know it was more of a little softer course at Arlington. I'm hoping she can handle a little. It's going to be firmer at Santa Anita. But Ryan Moore aboard. She's a classy top Group 1 and Grade 1 type of filly. I put the 6th horse Marketing Mix. I'm going to flip-flop Marketing Mix and Tis Flirtatious.
Yeah.
I just thought, I think Gary Stevens will not give up the lead this time. He wrestled her back behind a speed horse last time. I don't think she liked that. And I watched the replay, and Marketing Mix was coming almost every bit as good as Tis Flirtatious nearing the wire. I just thought she kind of got lost in the middle of the race. With the speed horse letting her get away. I just think put her on the lead, and I think that's what he's going to do. If anyone beats Dank, it's going to be Marketing Mix because she's going to be on the lead. I just think Gary's an aggressive rider. He likes to be on the lead with horses. He likes to be in control, and I think he'll do that with Marketing Mix. And I put Tis Flirtatious third, as you mentioned. Filly that Leparoux gets along with. She's running great races at any distance. She's just a cool filly. So I went 1, 6, and 3 in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. On to the 6th race. This will be the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. $1 million on the line here for. They're going to go 7 furlongs, got a full gate of 12 of them. Actually, not a full gate, they can run 14. I've gone to the way to the outside of the 12-horse Sweet Lulu.
Yeah.
Had her undefeated streak snapped by a very good close Hatches, who will run on Friday in the Distaff against Royal Delta and Princess of Sylmar and Beholder. But took a very nice filly to beat her at a distance that she was, a mile 16th, maybe might be a stretch for her. But she cuts back to 7 furlongs. I love the run in the test at 7-8. She was game that day.
Yeah.
The track was, I know it shows an 08 variant. The track was not super fast that day. But still, the fact that she had 2 on her inside, 2 on her outside, and just
fought the whole
in between
way,
more, and then closers were flying at her. She'd put those horses away on the head end, and the closers were flying at her at the last 16th, and she fended them off. It was a really courageous run, and you had to see the race to appreciate it. I think it means more to see the race than to see the 123 and 2. It looks like just an average performance, but this was a big performance.
Yeah.
I like the outside draw going 7-8. She can kind of gallop up into a good position. And she might be on the lead. There's not a ton of speed in here. I guess the 5 Teddy's Promise has some speed. There's not a pile of it in here. And I just think Sweet Lulu's, the 3-year-old filly, might be a good play in here. I put the 8-horse Dance to Bristol, who's been a gem of consistency.
Yeah.
Ran into a very good cluster of stars last time at Belmont. That's an undefeated filly that's just been, she's been amazing cluster of stars. She opted not to run in the Breeders' Cup. She ran in a New York bred. She's actually I think she's a New York bred. She opted to stay in New York and run some restricted races. But Dance to Bristol had a 4-wide trip that day, and still, man, it was still, running well in the stretch. But that cluster of stars had an easy lead, was sprinting to the wire, and that's why she lost. But every track she goes to, she runs well. She's a good dirt horse. Some of these other ones are good poly-track horses, and that concerns me. I want to stick with the dirt horses that are doing well, and I think Dance to Bristol is one. And I put the 5-horse Teddy's Promise. It was between the 4 Dance Card and the 5 Teddy's Promise. Those 2 are like interchangeable to me for 3rd and 4th. But I do like the 12 Sweet Lulu. I'm going to go 12-8-5.
I like Sweet Lulu too. She didn't make my ticket. I had her and Groupie Doll in the 3rd spot, and I went with last year's winner, Groupie Doll. The horse I put on top is Judy the Beauty out of Wesley Ward's barn, a well-bred daughter of Ghost Sapper. Ran last time at Keeneland in Grade 2, and I like her kind of sit and pounce kind of style, especially in a race like this where there usually is a lot of gas. There's probably going to be, like a 22 and change, maybe even 21 and change first quarter. They're going to be smoking, and I think she can sit off that and run down the lane. She's got a very good record, never been out of the money. 12 starts, 5 wins, 6 seconds, and only 1/3. So
she's been a beauty. She's
a beauty. She's a horse that always shows up, always runs a race. Hasn't necessarily picked the toughest spots, but she always runs no matter where she is. So I like Judy the Beauty. The 2nd spot I put Dance to Bristol, a horse you mentioned that's been extremely consistent. 10 wins and 8 seconds out of 19 starts. It doesn't get much better than that. And she seems to be really on her game right now. As you mentioned, just losing last time to Cluster of Stars. And in the 3rd spot I put Groupie Doll, last year's winner. I don't think she's coming into the race as good as she did last year. I originally had her off the ticket in favor of Sweet Lulu, but I put her back on there. as she is the returning champ, I'll give her a shot. I went 9, 8, and 11 in the filly mare sprint.
Now we got the boys sprint.
Now the boys sprint down the hill, the
Turf.
tricky down the hill course. This is a great race. I love these down the hill races. I went with a horse that has been knows this course. Peter Miller has been going very well right now. I picked number 4, Renee's Got Zip. Edwin Maldonado, a very underrated rider there, takes over for the recently retired Garrett Gomez. She's a horse that's on her game right now, 105, 103 by her in her last 2 starts at Delmar. She's had a little freshening. She's come back. Her works are nice and solid. I feel like she's coming in for a big effort. The second spot, I went way out to the 12 horse. Last year's winner, Jungle Racing's Ms. Direction.
You got the girls one too.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, that's right. Because she knows this course well. She won this race last time. She's very good
nice.
down the hill. She'd been off for a little while and then came back in June. Wasn't her race. They've given her more time off, but 57-4 the other day. She worked this course the other day in 57-4 on the 25th, which was last Friday. Wasn't it? The 25th? Mike Pipey knows how to get him ready. Mike Smith knows this horse. He won the Breeders' Cup on her last year. Mike Smith always shows up big on the big days. He's the guy to keep an eye on. And in the third spot, I went down kind of the rail here, towards the rail. Number 3, Chips All In of the Jeff Mullins barn. Another one just made a nice move to win the Eddie D. Again, at this turn, it's kind of a tricky course. I went to horses that have run over this course.
Experience is big.
No, it's down the hill, around the turn, yada, yada, yada. Chips All In, another one with a good record. Horse that figures to be right there. I went 4, 12, and 3.
Yeah, I agree with your 4 horse. I like the filly. Renee's Got Zip. Peter Miller has her firing well. She doesn't run very often, but when she runs, and usually with sprinters, they have more time, and they need to regroup because they put so much into their races, especially speed fillies or speed colts even. They need, they need to. The lemon is absolutely squeezed dry, and you need to replenish.
They're not just running a quarter of a mile. They're not just kind of like galloping and then making a big push at the end. They're going all out the whole way.
But Renee's Got Zip. I think she's going to get the lead in here. I don't see any. Maybe tight end touchdown. The 7 horse might be some pressure, but this Renee's Got Zip can run fast and carry on, and she's run against the boys before. I think she's going to be awfully tough. I'm willing to take a shot on her. Edwin Maldonado knows her well. He's been aboard for a win, 2 back there. But I'm going to try the filly. I think the price horse might be the 5 horse, Cara Cortado, for Mike Mikowski and Gary Stevens. This horse hadn't been run in almost 2 years. It was like a year and a half, year and 8 months or something before it came back in the Eddie D. Ran a great 4th with Aaron Greider on it. Got beat 3/4 of a length. The Chips All In, Boat Trip, and Unbridled Note. But this is another downhill specialist, and this horse likes the course. He's done well at it. I'm hoping that race, which was strictly hopefully a prep for this one, that he's going to peak with Gary Stevens aboard. And I just think Cara Cortado might possess quite a bit of value. Might be a nice double-digit horse that could be in the exactor. And I put the 11 horse, Spring to the Sky, a colt by a length here that ran at Keeneland last time. We got hung 4 deep the whole race, going 5.5. Still just got nailed late by Havelock, who is also in here. He's the 10 horse Havelock. But for my money, Spring to the Sky ran a way better race. This horse was battling 4 deep and just had everything go wrong. Havelock got to sit back and watch the race unfold, and then splits horses and wins. But Spring to the Sky is a pretty nice horse that does lack the down the hill experience, but still, this horse is a very good sprinter for Bruce Brown, and Johnny Velasquez certainly won't hurt either. It's going to put him in for 3rd. I'm going to go 4, 5, and 11, and one more. Who am I going to throw in for a little flyer? I guess, not Unbridled Note, not really. But no, I like 4, 5, and 11. I do like the filly. Renee's Got Zip. On to the 8th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. For 2-year-olds here, going to go a mile and a 16th. I've landed on the 6 horse Tap It Rich.
Yep.
Great debut for Bob Baffert. This colt looked the part. Or actually, he's a rig. This horse looked the part. Did a few things wrong. Walked out of the gate. Went 4 deep the last half mile and still just looped them and had tight lines coming down to the wire with Mike Smith aboard, and it's nice to see Mike Smith back in the irons. He probably could have rode a number of horses in the race, but he ends up on this one that looked like he has endless potential. I know it's quick, or it's pretty maybe too soon in this horse's career to be taking on Grade 1 horses, but I didn't see this race coming up amazingly tough. So I'm going to try Tappet Rich, who's eligible for non-winners of one other than, and he's come back to work well. I just think there's going to be a bit of speed in the race. I think he will be a little more professional, hopefully leaving the gate. But he showed me he's a nice colt, this Tappet Rich. I put the 14 Strong Mandate for Dwayne Lucas in for second. He had a brutal trip in the Champagne. He'll be better than that. I think he's versatile enough to be able to adapt. It's a mile and a 16th, and he does have the 14 hole. At least he's got a bit of a run to the turn to get some sort of position. So I'm going to try Strong Mandate, who was super impressive in his race. Since going in blinkers, this horse has been really good. And I put the 3-horse Mexicoma, who was a private purchase for the Team Valor and moved to the barn of Richard Mette. This horse won by like a pile of lengths at Delaware, 24-1 final quarter. I went and watched the replay. He was bandaged and blinkers, front bandages and blinkers on that day. And this horse crushed. Those legs were like flying. This is a nice colt too. So I mean, there's a lot of potential, I think, with this horse. Obviously, it caught the eye of them. They probably paid a pretty penny for Mexicoma, and might be worth a look. Works have been good over at Fairhill Training Center, and I'm going to try that one with Alan Garcia. I went 6, 14, and 3, but I do like the 6-horse Tappet Rich.
I went to the 13 Havana.
The Champagne. Yep.
Yeah, well, and a well-bred son. A horse that was cut out to be a nice horse. They paid $575,000 for him at the Barrett's March sale. He's by Dunkirk. I believe it's Dunkirk's first year as a sire. He's selling only for $10,000. They paid $575,000 for this colt. He obviously looks the part. He's unbeaten. Just won the Champagne, going a mile on a dirt surface at Belmont. Top connections in John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher. Very good numbers all the way around. I like Havana on top. The second spot, I put Strong Mandate, as you had him in the second spot too.
Yep.
Dwayne Lucas's horse. Throughout his last race, he won the Hopeful by almost 10 lengths at Saratoga over muddy surface. So you always got to keep your eye on Lucas on these big days too. He pops up. He knows what it takes to win these races. He knows how to have a horse ready for these big days. And he's a guy always to keep your eye on. And the switch to Joel Rosario will not hurt either. He knows that, probably you can make an argument maybe the best young rider in America, and he knows Santa Anita very well, having just moved his tack back east a couple of years ago when he was doing so well at Santa Anita. And in the third spot, I put Mario, bond holder, just won the front runner, grade 1.
For Mario. Yeah. There he is. He's good. Are you going to win, Mario?
Let's go, Mario. Yes, sir.
Yes, he is.
Or he's at least going to hit the board. I got bond holder, Doug O'Neill, J. Paul Redham, and Mario, the I'll Have Another connections. It looks like there's a fair bit of speed in this race. If they start flying up front, it's going to improve Mario's chances because he's going to be coming late.
It took course advantage.
Yeah, it took him a while to put it together, but last time was a very impressive run. He won by 2 1/4, but he was drawing off at the end. And as I mentioned, if it starts to fall apart in front of him, this horse could make a big impact. Love to see that. They almost won it, was it last year with He's Had Enough. Just missed last time, so maybe they can make amends today. I got 13, 14, and 5. On to the Breeders' Cup Turf, 1.5 miles over the grass. It goes as the 9th race at Santa Anita. This is one, it took me a while to look at here. You can make a point for quite a few horses. I went to point of entry. Shug McGahee, Hall of Fame trainer, knows how to have him ready. This horse just won a 1.25 mile race, the Manhattan in New York. Won it pretty comfortably by 1.5 lengths. He just likes to win, right? What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 wins out of his last 8 starts. The only one was last year. He ran second to Little Mike in the turf. He's had 2 good preps, 2 races since that one in February, but he did have that race in June. Shug McGahee does know how to have a horse ready for a day like this, and he's always hitting 105, 106, 104, 109 buyers. A buyer like that, I think, will get the money today. In the second spot, I went to the 11, Aidan O'Brien. Always in these turf races, keep an eye on Aidan O'Brien's horses. Throughout his last race, and his record's very nice. He got bumped around. He had a troubled trip last time, but number 11 Magician with top connections is my second pick, and he's a son of Galileo, and Galileo is probably the hottest sire on the planet right now. He's taken over where his daddy Sadler's Wells left off, and I would really keep an eye on the Galileo, especially on turf that are running on Breeders' Cup Day. I like Magician. I got him in the second spot. And in the third spot, I went back to the Fugi horse who was
Filly.
The filly, sorry, who was favored in this race last year. Just got beat a length and a quarter. She does little wrong, but I feel like she was even better. Her Ragusan numbers were better coming into this race last year, or in the Breeders' Cup Day.
Time, she's a nice filly.
Yeah, you could definitely make a case for her, the 4-year-old filly, but I feel like she was coming into Breeders' Cup Day better last year, and she didn't win, so I put her in the third spot. I got 8, 11, and 7.
Yeah, I'm off. We're way different in this one. I've gone to the 9-horse Indy Point with Gary Stevens for Dick Mandela. This horse won the Grade 2 John Henry last time. I went back and once again watched quite a few replays, and this one was full of run. This horse was confidently ridden by Gary Stevens. There is a lot left in the tank with this horse. And that's kind of why I like old-time hockey in the Breeders' Cup Marathon on Friday. He's coming out of a race against Indy Point, who I like in this a 1.5-mile race. And Indy Point, he's definitely bred to stay the trip. Most Argentine horses do love the 12-furlong distance, and he's had steady work since. I'm going to try Indy Point to win it. I put the 10-horse Big Blue Kitten, who I think is the best of the East Coast horses. He should have beat Little Mike last time. He encountered quite a bit of trouble at the head of the lane. He was trying to, maybe a little too cute, Joe Bravo, trying to go between horses, and he got shut off. He had to wait and then re-rally again. When you've already run 1.25 miles and you check and have to re-rally again, that takes a pretty special horse. There's not many horses do that. Some horses, like when you check going 6.5 furlongs, you only run half a mile or something. Then you can re-break. When you've gone 1.25 miles and you're checking and
you're moving and you have to stop,
to regroup and get going again. This horse did it. He just lost the bob with Little Mike last time. Their heads were just up and down when they hit the line. He was coming way faster. But I like Big Blue Kitten. I think this horse will be really dangerous for those guys, the Ramseys. Never heard of them. And I put the 4-horse Little Mike in for third. He's a cool horse that won the Breeders' Cup last year. He's coming into it great with that win. He did sit close to the fast fractions in the Turf Classic at Belmont, and I know he did win and probably should have lost that day, but still, he was the one that did the running early in the race, so I was pretty impressed. So I'm going to put him in for third. I went 9, 10, and 4 in the turf. On to the sprint. 6 furlongs here in race number 10 at Santa Anita. I'm going to land on the 9-horse here. Keep flipping my pages here.
Got a lot of pages today.
Too many of them. Secret Circle, I was really impressed with his comeback run. It was just an allowance race. It was just an optional 75. They did go in 7 and 4. And I'm not a big believer in crazy times like that because racetracks make times. And but you had to see the race to appreciate it. This horse relaxed beautifully under Martin Garcia, made the lead. There was a pretty nice horse chasing him. Let's get cracking. And Martin was just kind of looking under his arm. There was still tight lines. And that horse is running at him, but he's still not. There was more left in the tank. And I think drawing in gate 9 is good. There's some speed in here with Majestic Stride. You got Private Zone, Fast Bullet. I think in Triniberg, I just think he can get a good trip from post 9. He won't be. I'm sure Bob Baffert's happy he didn't get post 2 or 3 or something. So post 9 will be perfect for Secret Circle. He was a nice colt earlier last year, and. But he's a genuine sprinter, and I think he'll be very tough. Put the 1-horse Justin Phillip. I think he's the best East Coast horse. Good runner-up effort to Private Zone. The fractions beat him last time. Private Zone had easy fractions, 22 and 3, I think, the opening quarter. It was just comfortable to fractions on a very fast racing strip. They ended up coming home the last quarter in 23 and 1, and he's trying to run that horse down. That's pretty impressive, Justin Phillip, and I think if he can avoid traffic down on the inside, he'll be dangerous. And I put the 4-horse Majestic Stride. I never want to leave Jeff Bondi out of a 6-furlong race. This guy can get any horse to go in 21:43 and keep going. It just seems like it. But Majestic Stride was overlooked at the Mutuals last time in a non-2 other than. But he just beat Cyclometer. I know those aren't great horses, Cyclometer or Mile High Magic, but once again, the way he did it, the track was slow that day. See, the variant was 20. His horse went 21 and 44. Those are pretty impressive fractions. He's drawn inside. There's no crazy speed horse or no crazy good sprint horse in here that is going to guaranteed to go down there in 7.
Yeah.
So have a look at him, Edwin Maldonado re-rides. 9, 1. I know we're different. 9, 1, and 4.
We're different. This is my absolutely took a flyer on a few horses in here.
I don't mind this horse you picked.
Yeah, this
would Laugh Track.
This would be a race where I'd go deep. I went with Laugh Track, the 12 horse, out of Marquette, a horse that was doing most of his running at Woodbine, and sometimes in these Breeders' Cup races, you see these Woodbine horses show up and run really well. This is one I'm expecting that's going to show up and run very well. Mike Smith takes the call. Only got beat a length and a quarter in the Phoenix at Keeneland, which I think is going to be a race that produces some horses that make some noise in here. And he had a terrible start. He got bumped and knocked around and kind of pinched out.
He should have won last time.
And probably should have won that race. So for a price horse, I got Laugh Track on top. The second spot, I took Doug O'Neill's horse, Private Zone. Martin Pedrosa knows this horse well. Just won the Vosburg at Belmont in 108 flat. Won by a neck over Justin Phillips. And they had a bit of bumping going on down the lane too. So I like, he got 108 buyer. I like Private Zone. And in the third spot, I took another one, kind of a long shot, Gentleman's Bet. Another one that comes out of the Phoenix. He was another one that had a lot of trouble. Mike Smith had his choice between Gentleman's Bet and Laugh Track, and he chose Laugh Track, so that's why I ended up on Laugh Track. And I like the name too, Gentleman's Bet.
Yes, it is.
A pretty consistent little
Track.
runner. And Laugh Track's very good too. We need a Laugh Track for this show. 8 starts, 5 wins. He knows how to find the wire out of an underrated sire at half hours. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, I went 12, 7, and 3. If that comes in, you'll all be thanking me because your pockets will be full. On to the mile, the classic mile, one of the great races in the Breeders' Cup. Turf Mile, that's right. Sorry.
That's all right.
In the Turf Mile, I went to the 3-horse Silver Max. Horse that just likes to string together wins, right? He's won he's won the last 3 in a row. He's won half his starts, 11 out of 22. He's coming into the race. I feel really good off a win at Keeneland, going a mile and 16th, so he cuts back a little bit. He is a speed horse, which could compromise him in here, but out of the speed, I think he's the best one. I got Silver Max on top for Dale Romans and Robbie Alvarado. The second spot, I went to the 1, No Jet Lag. Another horse that I like, coming over from Ireland, Great Britain, from that circuit, where he wasn't running great. They brought him over to Del Mar. He won an optional 80. Then they ran him in a grade 2 at Santa Anita, and he won that pretty convincingly. So since coming over here, he's running very well. Mike Smith sticks with him. As I mentioned before, watch out for Mike Smith on these big days. He always seems to show up. I got him in the second spot. And in the third spot, I went to the 5, a horse that is coming over from England. 10 starts, 6 wins, and 3 seconds in Europe, which is very tough to do over there, running in France and Great Britain. Olympic Glory. He's 4-1 on the morning line, and I like him quite a bit as well. Sorry, lost my place there. I got 3, 1, and 5 in the mile.
Did Wise Dan scratch?
I left out Wise Dan. The reason I left out Wise Dan is I don't really like the timing of his races. That one at Keeneland last time, he was on the turf. They took him off the turf. I thought they probably should have just scratched him that day, but they ran him, and he's been running hard. I mean, he did win like 10 in a row. So I know it's strange to leave him out of the ticket.
I'm proud of you. No, it's good.
But he's the one horse.
Leave even money shots out.
I'm taking some shots. I don't think Wise Dan is coming into the race as good as he did last year, so I left him out.
I'm going to put him on top, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't win. But he's a pretty cool horse when he's on his game.
Horse of the year last year. Yeah.
Super impressive in the Woodbine Mile. He was full of run in 131 and change for a mile, and he doesn't have to give any weight away to anyone in here, and so other than the 3-year-olds. But I'm going to try him to win it, and not try him. I mean, I just think he's the best horse. The 2 horse is the one I'm going to take a bit of a shot on. Salentio Bejarano and Gary Mandela. This horse had a good comebacker, I thought, behind obviously, and he'd be fire and ice, who are kind of the top 2 California milers. Not that that's going to win you a lot, because the California milers, they're not maybe the toughest. But Salentio, I thought, had some back races that were pretty good against nice horses like Suggestive Boy. He did run against Wise Dan 2 starts back at Keeneland, but he's back on his home course. I thought the race served as a great prep. The works are steady, and I like Raphael riding anytime. So I put Silentio in for second, and I put the 6-horse Bright Thought, who's coming in off a big layoff. This horse was huge in winning the San Luis Rey. He ran fast fractions early. He won 110 for the opening 6 furlongs and kept going. He was like a crazy good horse, but he did sustain an injury in that race, and it's probably, with no prep race, it's a bit of a gamble to just take him alone. But he's only worked 3/8 as of September 21st. He'd only gone 3/8, so maybe it might not be a great pick on my part. But I do have him in for third. I just like the horse. I know that horse is a good horse. If he was like in mid-season form, which he's not, he's
be all over him.
He'd be tough against. So he's as good as Wise Down, I think. But I went Wise Down to win. I went 8, 2, and 6 in the Turf Mile onto the 12th and final event, the Classic, a mile and a quarter. Race goes at 5.
For a purse of $5
million. I'm going to go with the 11 or on the Greek. I think there's going to be a pile of speed in here.
Yep.
And on the Greek, kind of woke up. I have no idea why he was 21-1 last time. Maybe he shouldn't have been one of the favorites, but he shouldn't have been 21-1. But he did crush horses in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He seems to show up at the right time. He's been to Santa Anita before. He's won a race at Santa Anita. Of course, he's won the Classic, the Strube, pardon me. And but Ron the Greek, a horse that likes a mile and a quarter, likes a pace scenario. He's going to get it in here with, you got Moreno, you got Mucho Macho Man wants to be prominent, Fort Larned, Game On Dude. Ron the Greek will not get cheated in the pace scenario, let's put it that way, and I think if he's good enough, he will win. I put Game On Dude in for second. He's going to be under the odds because of all the hype about Game On Dude, but how can you leave him off? He's the top California horseman, running some great races. And I put the 12-horse Flat Out, who had some excuses in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Wasn't 100%, but he is 100% now. He's made a great impression on the track since arriving at Santa Anita. And I'm going to go to Flat Out for third with Joel Rosario, another off-the-pace horse. I wanted to really look at off-the-pace type horses in this race, not just horses coming from 3 or 4 out of it, from 8 or 9 or 10 out of it, because I think there will be a pace. So I'm going to go 11, 9, 12 to close the road.
I got totally different horses, and I did leave Game On Dude off the ticket.
Okay, I wasn't crazy about the dude.
Yeah, the way he come in, he's disappointed greatly in this race last year. He's going to be a short price, so I'm going to try and leave him off the ticket. I went with the 5, Declaration of War, back to Aidan O'Brien again. This is a horse who's won 7 of 12 starts overseas. He can get the distance. He's not bringing them over here just to parade around the track. He's brought great horses here in the past who've ran great in the Classic, horses like Giants Causeway and Saki, to mention a few. And he's ran a mile and a quarter before. He's ran a mile and a quarter once. He won. So I like Declaration of War. The second spot, I put Mucho Macho Man, a horse who ran the Awesome Again, has a race over the track, absolutely crushed that day. Gave Fort Larned everything he could handle last year in the Classic and just missed. And Gary Stevens will not hurt his chances. Gary Stevens, speaking of mid-season form,
yeah, he's great.
Since he's come back from retirement, has been lights out. And I know Mike has him on a lot of tickets this weekend. I expect Gary Stevens to have a big weekend as well. And in third spot, for my heart, I went with number 7, Fort Larned, the horse who won this race last time. He's actually kind of coming into this race in almost better form than he did last year. Last year, he had a kind of a well-beaten third in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. This time it was just an overnight stake at Churchill. It wasn't graded, but he did win pretty impressively. He's got it in him, and I'd like to see him win for Miss Jan Whittam. I got 5, 6, and 7, and we should mention that here at the Derby Barn Grill, we will be cheering for
Gunther.
One of our regulars. John Gunther has the one horse in here, Last Gunfighter. Another horse that likes to win. 13 starts, 7 wins, 3 seconds, 2/3. For the homebred of John Gunther, we'd like to see him definitely get a piece of it. He's the one horse. But I went 5, 6, and 7 in the Classic. That'll do it for our Breeders' Cup shows, our analysis. Up next will be our picks. Mike, as always, you're up first.
Okay, back in race number 1, which will be race number 4 at Santa Anita. I went to the one horse, Artemis Agroterra, 1-9-10. Race number 2, I went 1-6-3. Race number 3, I went to the 12, Sweet Lulu, 12-8-5. And race number 4, another filly against the boys. I'm going to try the 4, Renee's Got Zip. I went 4, 5, and 11. Race number 5, I went to the 6, Tap It Rich, over the 14 and Strong Mandate, and the 3, Mexicoma. Next up, I went to the 9, Indy Point, over the 10, Big Blue Kitten, and the 4, Little Mike. And race number 7, the 9, Secret Circle in the sprint. I went 9, 1, and 4. And then in the turf mile, I went to the 8, Wise Down. I went 8, 2, and 6. And in the Classic, I went to the 11, Run the Greek, 11, 9, and 12.
And there we go. Up next is mine. I agree with Mike in the juvenile fillies. The first race of the Breeders' Cup, I went to Artemis Agroterra, number 1, over the 9 and the 7. The second, I'm with Mike on number 1, Dank, over the 3 and the 7. In the third, I went to number 9, Judy the Beauty, over the 8 and the 11. In the fourth, I went with number 4, same as Mike, Renee's Got Zip, over the 12, Misdirection, and 3, Chips All In. In the fifth, I went to number 13, Havana, over the 14, Strong Mandate. The 5, Mario on Bondholder. Love to see Mario try and get this one. In the sixth, I went to the 8, Point of Entry, over the 11, Magician, and the 7, The Fugi. In the seventh, I went to the 12, Laugh Track, over the 7 and the 3. In the 8th, I went to the 3, Silver Max, over the 1 and the 5. And in the 9th, the big one, the Breeders' Cup Classic, I went on a bit of a shot. Aidan O'Brien's horse, number 5, Declaration of War, over Mucho Macho Man and Fort Larned.
Once again, we did go races 1 through 9 on the selections
But it starts on
they
the
are
fourth.
Races 4 through 12. So
Yeah.
do look at your programs
Yeah.
and your daily racing forms. Of course, just because of our graphics, we just
Yeah.
we'll run 1 through 9. But races 4 through 12 will be the Breeders' Cup races at Santa Anita, starting at 12 noon. Actually, the races start earlier than that, but the actual first Breeders' Cup race goes to 12:05.
10 o'clock is, right around 10 o'clock is first post, and then 12:05 is first Breeders' Cup.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate everyone. Hopefully we were able to give you a little insight, a lot of insight. Hopefully get you lucky and making some catch one superfect, get one try. I mean, you're going to get a lot of money.
If you can hit anything on these big
Get
days,
an
it pays.
exactor.
It pays.
You're going to do good. All right, on behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in to Handicapper's Corner. Enjoy Breeders' Cup 30, and we'll see everyone throughout the winter here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
The telegraph. Football Rivera bite. I hear his foot's all right. Of course it all.